Hello. Hello, good afternoon, friends and neighbors. This is Faisal Hassan, your member provincial parliament for York Southwestern. Welcome. Good afternoon. And before we begin our afternoon program, I wish to acknowledge at this time the land that we now know as York Southwestern is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuits, and Métis. Welcome those who are joining me this afternoon. This is Faisal Hassan, your member provincial parliament. You're joining Facebook, Faisal Hassan NDP, Instagram, Faisal Hassan NDP, and also YouTube, and also Twitter. So welcome. And it's a beautiful day out there, folks. And quickly, this week, I've also hosted a town hall meeting about auto insurance and postal code discrimination. And we had a special guest, my colleague from Brampton North, member provincial parliament for Brampton North, Kevin Yard. And we thank him for joining us. And I want to thank to everyone who participated in our auto insurance town hall meeting with my colleague Kevin Yard, member provincial parliament, the riding of Brampton North. The community came forward with several great questions. And also, if you want, you can actually watch at my YouTube and also Twitter and also my page as well for the entire interview as well. Welcome those who are joining Instagram as well, and also those who are joining also Twitter and YouTube and my page as well. And also, the government recently announced it is called a reopening plan. It left many questions unanswered and failed to invest basic days, rapid testing, or smaller class sizes that's so important for social distancing in our community. And the government continues to take a cost-saving approach to education and spending at a time when more investments are needed to support student recovery, rather than the government's 800 million proposal cut to education. I will continue to advocate for more spending on urgent priorities such as mental health supports for children and also teachers as well. Our province and this community have been struggling with a housing crisis, folks, for some time now, and for several years, housing advocates have been raising concerns about successive government choices to focus housing policy on profit and also a financial motive. The result is an environment where average hard-working families are seeing more and more of their budget eaten up by housing costs. It has gotten out of control, and COVID-19 has made the problems facing residents and families far worse. I believe everyone deserves a good, stable home, a place they can call a place they can afford as well. And folks, also we need to understand also the crisis of housing. Where does it begin? And I said many times, again and again, this was also the failure of consecutive federal governments and provincial governments as well. And it started in 1996 when the federal Liberals have said that they have nothing to do with housing and downloaded to a provincial governments. And then Mike Harris, who was the premier at that time, also downloaded his responsibility and the provincial government responsibility into the municipalities. And what do I mean, that was a responsibility of the provincial government, and now he then downloaded to municipalities. And we've seen Toronto, a city that is struggling in housing crisis, has not had support in that regard. And we have seen also the waiting list for affordable housing and subsidized housing, and for gear to income is being over about 180,000 people are waiting, and that's only Toronto alone, and not only in Build and other municipalities, urban cities in Ontario. So this crisis has begun with Mike Harris, Ernie Eves, and also Dalton McGuinty and Kathleen Wynne. Those Liberals and the Conservatives did nothing about it, and the crisis is out of control. No one actually can dream a place to call home. We have seen also landlords trying to evict decent, hard-working tenants who are not behind, who have been tried to, muzzled out with their tricks. And we have seen some also that have brought up, put together money to pay their landlords that have been wanted to force them. We have had some successes, of course, but we're just managing a crisis. We need a vision. And my leader, Andy Horvath, has proposed recently, and also this week, she was also in St. Catherine and Niagara region, and also have talked about our housing plan. Housing, as you know, is a human right. And I also put a housing as a human right bill, which would have actually have given us an opportunity to study about the disparities and inequities relating to housing. That would have actually provided a commissioner, and also independent commissioner, and also a working group to actually provide continuously the gaps, the inequities, the disparity issues that exist in housing. What do the Conservatives do? The Ford government, they voted down our bill immediately as soon as we debated. But I want to talk about also that the vision that my leader has put forward, and that is a housing is human right. And I believe that this government could be making choices to respect this principle. But sadly, they have taken a different approach. Previous governments have really let us down, and that is exactly is the government of the progressive conservatives of Mike Harris, Ernie Eves, and also the Liberals of Dalton McGuinty and Kathleen Wynne. They let us down, and they have not tackled the housing crisis. For close to 2 decades, the cost of housing has been going through the roof. No one can afford. And we have seen many schemes of these people coming up, what they now call a term, which I don't understand what it means. They call it affordable housing. But affordable housing, exactly what that means. We have seen in our community right here in Weston and also in John Street, the case of 22 John Street. It was a location where we had many spaces of parkings of the community, and also the farmers market, which was second to none in Toronto. And now this building is expensive, no one can afford, but that's also their new definition of what they call affordable, and that is not right. We need to make sure exactly what it means. Break it down, folks, so that we understand exactly what that means. And we also need, these governments have left open loopholes that benefit bad apple developers, those who are cutting corners, speculators, and billionaires, investors, all while making it harder and harder for everyday folks to afford a place of their own. And if you were born here in Toronto, forget about it. You won't be able to afford it unless we do something about it. Yes, my leader put a plan, a vision that an NDP government will implement, that also will help you own your own property, and also have other options as well to make sure that also we also invest cooperatives We invest other means of direct support to people that need support. And we also need, all while making it harder and harder for everyday folks to afford a place of their own. We need to move swiftly to reverse the damage and take steps to help average people get by. We can offer first time home buyers with household incomes under 20,000, sorry, 200,000, 200,000 home equity loans of up to 10% to help with their down payment. And a lot of people, when they want to own a place, they have difficulties of actually saving the down payment. It is time that we partner with communities and families and individuals to actually put down and have loans of up to 10% to help with their down payments. Along with these measures, I support major investments to extend the life of 260,000 affordable homes. And means really affordable, not what we have just seen recently about the case example of 22 John Street, and build 69,000 affordable homes and help 31,000 households pay their rent. And this is necessary, folks. We have seen the city, the homeless people are being removed in public spaces, and now they have no other options. They have not been provided a mental health support, and we could do better. We could actually do better, and an NDP government have that vision and plan to implement it. And more people are being impacted by this crisis. Tenants are dealing with fear and anxiety. New families are unable to grow because they cannot afford a new place, a home. Sons and daughters are choosing to remain at home with parents for longer, and multi-generational homes are struggling with overcrowded conditions. This cannot continue, and folks, brothers and sisters, and neighbors and friends, it requires a vision and leadership that is prepared to make bold changes. I know that this issue is too important to our community, and I will be working with my colleagues to advocate for these and other sensible solutions to the problem. I hope that your support and trust and confidence is needed now, and we can pressure the government to ignore the corporate voices advocating for the status quo and start treating housing crisis with urgency it deserves. We need to do it because this is a crisis, as I said. It started 1996 under the leadership of John Crochet, Paul Martin, and that also trickled down to provincial governments. And what do the Conservatives and Liberals do? They do nothing. The only thing they did was download it to municipalities. And this crisis, folks, continues. And we have the vision. And first, I would like to welcome Canadian Gambian youth who are doing a fantastic job, and also Anita, and also Peter, and each and every one of you who are joining also through Instagram. Welcome. And also welcome folks who are also joining Facebook. I want to welcome Brandon. Says, good afternoon, MBB Faisal Hassan. Well, thank you for joining me, Brandon. Welcome, Zainab. Zainab says, hello, welcome. Jerry Grossi, welcome. And Brandon quickly says, the wildfire is still out of control. What will Ontario NDP leader and the Ontario NDP caucus do to demand Premier Ford to declare a state of emergency for the people of Northern Ontario? The wildfires are the cause for the hot temperatures here in the city of Toronto. Do you think that Ontario NDP leader Andrew Horwath and the Ontario NDP caucus will ask Premier Darkford to declare a state of emergency sooner than later? Yes or no? Well, Brandon, I usually don't like questions that just narrow into yes or no, but definitely in this case, yes. We have asked the Premier many weeks ago to declare an emergency. And as you know, folks, members from our caucus from the north have also, led by Solomon Makwa, have done exactly that. And my leader have also called that. We need emergency, immediate emergency to support folks from the north. Well, thank you for joining and also for your question. Folks, I was talking about our vision and planned about housing, and the crisis of housing has begun, as I mentioned early on in 1996, with the government of John Crutcher and Paul Martin, who then became a prime minister and also was the finance minister of that time. And we have seen their policies have actually affected much of the problems of we are facing today. But also, there have been liberal and progressive conservatives governing Ontario. What do? They do nothing, my friends. All they did was simply they downloaded to municipalities. This is a housing file. And my leader was this week in Niagara Falls and St. Catherine, and have also talked about our housing vision. And I'll just summarize for you quickly. An Ontario NDP government will create a new Residence Rights Act to make it easier for homeowners to convert an unused garage, a basement or floor for their home into an affordable rental home. And also an NDP government and our under the NDP's Homes in Ontario program, first-time homebuyers with household incomes under 200,000 will be able to access home equity loans of up to 10% to help with their home down payment. Homeowners will then have the flexibility to pay back the government's share or repay the loan only if and when they move and sell their home. So just when you sell it or when you move, that means you are able to not have the pressure, but you will be able to do it when pay back the share, repay the loan only if and when you move or sell your home. The NDP government will create a revenue neutral fund to finance repayable loans as a part of the Homes in Ontario program. That fund will be self-sustaining. Gains in the fund over time will be used to maintain the fund. So that is very important. So it will not cost you anything in that regard. The NDP government will regulate short-term rentals, and short-term rentals will obtain a license from the province or from a municipality that sets its own regulations. In areas experiencing low vacancy rates for long-term rentals, hostess will be limited to renting their primary residence only. And folks joining our Facebook page, welcome. And I see here Frank, welcome. He says the Liberals also cut homeless support across Ontario. And also, I could say that, Frank, it is from bad to worse. We had Liberals for 15 years, but they have let us down. This file and many files. They have sold hydro. They also privatized many government services. And this is also the plan of this government. They are just from worse to bad, from bad to worse. And also Brandon says, quickly, Brandon says, with the speculation of the fall federal election happening tomorrow, do you think it is a good idea to go the polls during national pandemic? Yes or no? Well, Brandon, as I usually say, that I don't like a question to be narrowed into yes and no, but I do believe this is a minority government. But I think now this minority government have actually had a success by working with others and others working with them. And since the parliament is working for the people, why there's need for an election? I don't understand. It's a minority government, and if the other members of the legislature are putting ideas, making sure that the parliament functions and works, then there is no need in election in the middle of a pandemic. But I think it looks, Brandon, that the federal liberals, they want to have an election. And if that's the case, then we will have an election and let people decide about that election. Well, thank you for the question. And Frank says the federal election that no one asked for, exactly when the parliament can actually work for the people. You see, and a minority government, it have actually been the best thing happened in the middle of the pandemic, because the current legislatures were able to work together in many fronts, and that credit goes all those parties in this period in the middle of the pandemic. And I don't understand why there is an election now while they can actually work for the people, continue to work for the people, until they come out of the pandemic. Well, that is, it looks like the liberals want election. And if that's the case, then people will decide. Well, thank you for the questions, Frank, and also and Brandon. Quickly, the NDP will also increase NRST from 15 to 40% and expand the tax to apply everywhere in Ontario. My leaders, just as I mentioned, was this week in St. Catherine and also Niagara Falls, Niagara area, and also talked about our platform. Also closes those loopholes that let some of the greedy, wealthy speculators, flippers off the hook, and we need to hold them accountable as well. And by implementing the entire Homes You Can Afford plan, will take a capital investment of 90 million to expand the life of 260,000 affordable homes, an average annual investment of 340 million for 10 years to build 69,000 new affordable homes. The total additional annual projected revenue is 300 million, all from speculation, non-residence, vacancy taxes on reconstruction, condo, and flipping and licensing short-term rentals. Not a dime will come from everyday families who rent or buy in Ontario. So that's also very clear, folks, that you should know. And an NDP government would fund an operating investment of 300 million. That includes 240 million to fund rent subsidies for 311,000 households, 10 million for cooperative seat fund, and 50 million to deliver 30,000 supporting housing spaces. And we need that visioned in Ontario, because as I've said again and again, that housing has been neglected by both consecutive governments, liberals and conservatives alike, and also the federal government has not been a good partner. Now I see they are coming forward with money, but a lot of announcements, when they're doing it, we're not part of it. They are not including us, what that is. So basically, it is not adequate, and it is not clear what those money they are spending. Is it an election money? What is it really? We don't have, because they're not sharing with us those plans as the official opposition partners. There are many cases that the federal MP had announcements with the city councillor, and they invited the mayor, but they have not included me as your provincial representatives and that is not cooperation, and that is not a partnership from the provincial government in that regard. So what we need to do, if they are coming to make announcements in our community for senior buildings, we need to know what are they, and the right thing to do is to invite me and to ask questions or to provide me that vision as well. It hasn't happened. So, as I said earlier, my leader this week was in St. Catherine and Niagara Falls, and also talked about our housing plan, homes you can afford. A platform also builds 69,000 new affordable homes, better protects tenants from poor living conditions, and helps 311,000 households pay their rent, supporting tenants. Also, supporting tenants' rights is also critical, and we need also eviction preventions. We need also rent control, and also, as you know, we need also my colleague. I invited here Jill Andrew from Toronto St. Paul's, who also put a motion of banning above guideline increases that affects also in our community, and she talked about that motion, which the Conservatives also voted immediately down. And that means we have seen many landlords every year applying above guidelines increases, which means that if they make a little bit painting or little bit things in facelifting in the front of the building, then they want to pass to the tenants. And they haven't done a lot of maintenance issues as well. Because of this, many tenants are continuously being asked to pay more every year. And now they are in a position where they're not able to afford communities in which they grew up, communities in which they have lived over 40 years, 30 years, some cases even 50 years. Because many people in our community, they're working families, they're decent and hardworking people, they cannot even afford a place to own, because they cannot save the down payment. And I think that's why it's crucial that we provide loans of 10% of the equity, and that way we'll be able to make sure that they could also become owners of houses and so forth. Quickly, this is Faisal Hassan, your member provincial parliament, joining you this afternoon. Usually I join you every Saturday from 3 to 4, because during the pandemic, we had difficulties of actually visiting you or you coming down to the constituency office, because we have been working on telephone, on emails. We are also waiting to open. As soon as we are given the green line, we are going to open the office, but still it's not open. Because of that reason, I've also have made the commitment to join you online every Saturday from 3 to 4. I have been together with you over now a year or more, and will continue to hear your concerns and answer some of your questions. And you've also said we want you to join us live while you're at home. Now I know things are opening up a bit, and many of you are enjoying the beautiful weather. And I'm wondering and I want also your feedback in September. I'm thinking of actually doing it on Fridays rather than Saturdays, and send me your feedbacks that as well. Well, thank you. Quickly, I need some water. Quickly, I will take questions and comments from the folks joining from Facebook. Brandon says, since today's COVID-19 case numbers are up again today, do you think that the province of Ontario will enter another lockdown? And that's Brandon. Thank you for the question. And Faisal Abdurrahman joined, says, thanks, brother. Well, thank you. And also, Double Ready Darwish also joined and says, good job, MBP Hassan. Well, thank you, folks. And quickly, I think Brandon. I think things are improving, and I think uh, it's very good that more people have done what they have been asked. They have taken their shots. They have stayed, longer period of time at homes, and they are also having many issues, financial issues, and so forth and so forth. I hope we don't need another lockdown, Brandon. What we need is to actually listen, my leader, who proposed last mile strategy. Let us go to people where they are. Let us provide people with vaccines and also put basic days. Make sure that we have also support teachers in schools for making sure that we have small classes. We invest also in ventilations, and we need a leadership to invest, Brandon, to make sure that we tackle these issues now. But it will be devastating if we have another lockdown, because already our community have also struggled, which has been hit hard. And we need things are moving in the right direction. Of course, many of the members of our community have gotten their vaccines. I have gotten my double shots. I've gotten my vaccines as well, and many of you also. At the beginning, you were a bit hesitant, and because people want also to be educated. And what we have done was also call the experts. We've called for a town hall meeting on this, and slowly and gradually, many of you have really taken the shots. It's encouraging, Brandon. What we need to do is to make sure that we listen to my leader, Andrew Horvath, who actually said we need a last mile strategy, and which requires investing resources now to go to people where they are so they can get their shots and continue to help them that way. And I think hopefully, Brandon, we will reach to the step 4 where we will fully open up for everything quickly. That's what we need, Brandon, and that's what people are yearning for. They need also support now. And we have seen also many small businesses in our community are struggling. They're struggling because some of them have not gotten the small businesses grants to this day. Some of them have written to the minister to provide what they're entitled to. We know that also dry cleaners are excluded in that regard. We need them to exclude them. My leader also called Andrew Horvath a third round of support and also investment for also tourism tax credit or travel tax credit, which also we want people to spend at least 1,000, and you get 100% back at the return of your tax season. And the Conservatives also call the same thing, this government, but theirs is only 20%. You spend $200, you only get 20% of that. You spend 1,000, you get 200 of that. That's 20%, and that's not really supporting to encourage community and support. So we need support as well to make sure that those who have not gotten their vaccines are educated, provided informations, but also be supported. And that's what this government is lacking. Okay. Well, thank you for the question. Quickly, also, I'm also, this week also, we had a shooting last week, Friday, at Full Staff again. And I was saddened to learn of a shooting in the Full Staff community, resulting a 12-year-old victim. I visited the family. I met the young man. I met his mother and sister and relatives and neighbors. And everyone deserves to live in peace and safety in their communities. My thoughts are with the young boy and his friends and family as he recovers, and with residents of the Jane Falstaff community. We have had to endure ongoing violence and fears of their safety. And I have written to the new president and the CEO of the Toronto Community Housing um, recently, and asking, and I've asked the Toronto Community Housing addresses the overdue issues of enhanced security measures, and for that you can also read on my website Faisal Hassan .ca, also my page Faisal Hassan NDP as well. The province also must act and step in to give communities the long overdue support they need to cope with the help, to cope with and also help prevent gun violence, including addressing poverty and lack of social services. And also we need to support Toronto Community Housing, which have been a very instrumental working with us. They have been very cooperative with their previous CEO and his team, Kevin Marshman, and they have improved with lightings, with cameras, and they have also renovating the buildings, and both three buildings there. We need to make the lives of residents there better and to protect them. To do that, they have also agreed to also build fences, but also make sure all the surrounding fences, the spaces that are open, also being closed, as well also a gate at the both entrances, at the entrances of the east side and also the west side of the building, thereby making sure also those constables also sit there so the community feels safe. So anyone who is coming, they cannot jump on the fence, they have to come through those doors, and from there then they have to tell us, the constables, who are they visiting. And if they are residents, then the constables will be able to know the residents and get to know one another. That way we will improve the safety of the community. And I also want to thank the entire folks of the Toronto Community Housing for their hard work and working with the team. They also provided as well also a team of counselors to help the family. I visited on Monday, last Monday, and I met them there quickly, and they have been very cooperative in that sense. And I'm looking forward to meeting the new CEO, and also his name is Jack Sharma. And as I said, I have also written a letter to the new president and the chief executive officer of the Toronto Community Housing, and have asked addressing the overdue issues of enhanced security measures at the apartment complex, that is 20, 30, and 40 Falstaff, where another shooting occurred this past week. We know also before, it took also a little bit long because also we lost Hashim, a decent young man who had a bright future ahead, and he was also gunned down in front of his building, and that was also a very unfortunate that has happened, resulting also this recent shooting in the middle of the building, injury of 12-year-old, and the people who are coming to this community do not live in this community. Everyone deserves to live in peace and safety, and I've said again and again, my thoughts are with the families and the young boy, his father, his parents and mother, as he recovers, and with the residents in Jane Falstaff community who have had to endure ongoing violence and fears for their safety. It is critical that Toronto Community Housing take immediate action to install gated entrances at 40 and 40 Falstaff, a request residents in the community made almost a year and a half ago, and that received approval, which I would thank again the team of the Toronto Community Housing, and to repair the gaps in the fencing surrounding the apartment complex to better prevent public access. to limit only the residents, because this has come too often that the safety of the community has been targeted and it must end. The province must also act and step in to give communities in our community here in York South Western and also North York the long overdue support they need to cope with and help prevent gun violence, including addressing root causes like poverty and lack of social services that have been neglected. And this was also the CATS neglect of the last 15 years, and also the continuation of this current government. The government also slashed the Landing Opportunity Grant and cuts millions of dollars from the support for student fund, as well as programs that give at-risk youth after school jobs and also access to recreational activities, sports, etc. They have also cancelled more than 300 million in mental health funding, and that's also we need also investment in that regard. And as you know, we have also advocated an entire ministry devoted in mental health. We need exactly because that's what we need, a minister sitting in the cabinet table, given a mandate to work on mental health issues. That's what's needed to put resources and put also support for transitional housing for those folks who need also medication and support. And we can talk about then directly also providing them training and connecting them to jobs and giving people hope and opportunities. I hope you find also an opportunity to spend some time outdoors with friends and family. This beautiful summer, and it has been. Yesterday was hot. I was saying that it is not July; it is August, so that's good news. Our community has been through a lot. Sure, you can hear me, right? Yeah, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Just tell me if you can hear me now. Okay? You can? Just say yes. Can I have a comment there if you can hear me? Well, Faisal says he cannot hear me. And just let me know if you cannot hear me before I proceed, because I want you to hear me. Good. Faisal says he can hear me. That's awesome. That's great. Well, thank you. And And thank you to community members who have received their second dose or are on the path to full vaccination. And I want to report to you that I too have gotten my 2 shots, my vaccinations. And we know that many of you also asked a lot of questions. At the beginning, we had brought experts, we held town hall meetings and to make sure that you get your vaccines, and many of you have gotten, and the remaining of you who haven't, please, consult with your doctor, but make sure you get your vaccines. It's your best interest as well. Today's, we are getting closer to the step 4, but we need to make sure that we get there. Also, my leader also announced when partnered with a last mile vaccination strategy that removes barriers and reaches every person possible will put us on strong footing. This government has loosened restrictions in the past only to reverse course and tighten them again. It doesn't need to be this way, folks. We can be open and stay opened. I encourage this government to roll out and fund this important strategy and take proactive steps to keep Ontarians safe. So, folks, if you haven't read that, you can also access to my website, faisalhassan.ca. Well, thank you. And that's a very important that we do, okay? I will come to the question of the Brandon, who said that he likes the fact that coffee hour conversation will be on Fridays instead of Saturdays. If the coffee hour conversation happens on Fridays, will you extend time of coffee hour conversation on Friday? What do you mean, Brandon? Are you saying that we need more than 1 hour? I think 1 hour should be enough. Like we could do it a little bit later. We could do like maybe 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., whichever is you guys like. If you like 6, let me know. If you like 7, let me know. That way we can do 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. That too will work. Let me know what you like, and then we could be able to get ready then to do that starting in September. Then we could do maybe 7 Friday at 7 or Fridays at 6, whichever you prefer. I'm also okay with that as well. So you just let me know that too, so we can actually do that. Very good. Brandon says yes. Faisal also says yes because he can hear. And I know, folks, this week we had a town hall meeting on auto insurance and postal code discrimination. And our friend, my colleague and friend, Kevin Yard from Brampton North joined us. He was our special guest because he's also the official opposition's critic for auto insurance. And if you haven't watched it, please do so. And you can do it on the on our YouTube. You can watch it on my Twitter and also my page as well there. And if you haven't subscribed my YouTube, please do so because you can also get immediate notifications as well. So very good, and I thank you for joining. But still, the problem of auto insurance is a problem that exists in our community and many communities across the board on the GTA and also bigger municipalities. And we need to solve this problem once and for all. And many of you have asked a lot of questions, Many of you also have commented on this issue, and what you have asked was fairness, and paying auto insurance for $500 a month, that is not right. It is not correct. non injusto. It is not right. We need to fix it, folks. And we can do it. We can do it with the leadership of an NDP government to make sure that we remove it. And now also Kevin Yard, Member Provincial Parliament for Brampton North, also shared us that these industries, he said there are some good industries, but there are some who are considering, your credit card or your credit history, and that to me, he says, there's some who will not do that, but there are others who just want more profit and just to harm folks who are struggling with bad credit. What's got to do with driving and your credit history or your postal code? Nothing. And that is wrong, and it should be only based on where you live and the car you drive. And that's exactly what makes sense. As you know, Kevin Yard, the Brampton North MPP, who's also our official opposition's critic for auto insurance, put a motion on this to ban and end postal code discrimination. Also, I also put a motion to actually give relief and ban postal code discrimination as well, and that is many of the residents of our community and also beyond our community, their cars are parked in their driveways, in their parking lots, in their basements, because they are not driving, because it's the middle of a pandemic. They're staying home. Because of that reason, still they're paying higher premiums. Kevin tells us, a member from Brampton North, MPP, Kevin Yard from Brampton North, he told us there are some who have issued some relief on the auto insurance, but there are still many who have not. Many drivers have not gotten their break, and that's not right. And since they are driving home, they're supposed to be getting 50% off, or 50% relief, and that hasn't happened, and that's not right. So we need really to correct this. And as I've also met many insurance companies in 2019, they told me they too feel this is not working, and they understand it need to be fixed. Then do it, fix it, remove auto insurance based on postal codes. There is no reason where some communities, are paying less, and it's not based on their postal code, but others, like our community, is based on their postal code. And this is not right. We can do better, folks, for that. Well, thank you. This is your Member Provincial Parliament, Faisal Hassan, joining you every Saturday from 3 to 4 every Saturday, because we've said that let us come together and also have accessibility where you can actually join me and ask me questions or comment regarding the week's work, what we have been doing in the legislature. And we have been doing this now close to over a year now, together and joining you. There was only 2 Saturdays that I did it late at times, because we didn't want it to cancel it, because you look forward to this joining me. I know many of you are also busy in the summertime because the weather is beautiful, and you deserve to take advantage of that, to enjoy it. And if you cannot join, you can also watch it later. You can watch it on my Twitter, on my YouTube, and also my page as well. That way, also my Instagram now, which you're also joining me, those also joining on Instagram, I thank them as well. So you can also do that by making sure you also joined us every Saturday. And when September starts, I'll let you know. We are going to plan to do it Fridays rather than Saturday, so that we can then do a little bit later, so in the evening, so you would have time to join together as also fall starts. So that way, on the fall and in the winter, perhaps we could then transition into Fridays rather than Saturdays by joining you. Either 6 and 7 will decide. We want your feedback also to give us which time is good for you. Okay, and that way we'll be able to also put your inputs and your ideas as well in that regard. And also this afternoon, just give me a minute. Also in this afternoon, we also we talked about our housing plan. You know, it's very important that I talked about also again and again that if you haven't read it, I can send you a copy, or you can just go to Ontario NDP / housing plan. You know, or you could just put Ontario NDP in the Google engine, Ontario NDP housing plan. There you have it, friends. Okay, you can read it, and if you have any questions, you can share with me, okay? Or I can send you a copy if you prefer that way. You can write to me, fhassan-co@ndp.on.ca. Or you can write to me 416-243-7984. You know, that way we can also promptly get back to you. And if you don't know where my office is located, my office is located 1965 Western Road, and that is just north of Lawrence and Western Road, and also south of King, or Little Avenue rather, you know. And that way there is my office. So you can also send us an email also if you need any help, or you can also phone us. My phone is 416-243-7984, and also you can write to me, fhassan-co@ndp.on.ca. Well, thank you. You have been watching Faisal Hassan. You're a member provincial parliament for York Southwestern, and if I know that those of you who have joined this afternoon, I want to thank you for joining this afternoon. Those who've joined Instagram, and also those who have also joined Twitter, and also those who are joining my page, Faisal Hassan NDP. Faisal Hassan NDP Instagram, Faisal Hassan NDP Twitter, and also YouTube as well. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube, I've also said this, you can actually subscribe, so you also have access. You can actually get notifications right away. And welcome, Ayan, for joining as well. Almost, I have only 2 minutes as we approach also on the dot at 4 p.m. I have been with you since 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and usually I join you from 3 to 4, and we have been doing this for a while now to make accessible to you. Okay, and I know that I also want your feedback, because we want to do this starting September. We want to do it Friday instead of Saturday. Okay, so that also I want your input in that regard, so that if you like that, I think Brandon likes it, and that's a good thing. So definitely we will then move into that direction. But just also share your opinion on also the time you prefer, from either 6 to 7 or 7 to 8, you know, while you are at home, so you can join us, so we can have a beautiful conversations together. And also hear week's work from the legislature, and also take some of your questions, and also read some of your comments as well. Well, quickly, Hawa Mire just also have joined us from Instagram. Welcome, Hawa. We have only have 1 minute, and Hawa is our federal NDP candidate, and she just joined Instagram quickly. Faisal Hassan Instagram. Folks, I have reached 4 p.m. and that's it for me this afternoon. Please take care of each other, wash your hands, and make sure that also, you practice social distancing, and you make sure also if you have gotten your vaccines, please do so we can quickly move into the fourth step or stage quickly. Okay, until then, I'll join you again next Saturday from 3 to 4. This is Faisal Hassan, your member provincial parliament. Until then, stay safe and well. Thanks. Bye.